The barkeeper was talking about an exhibition in Paris. But where could... Come on, Stobart, use your brain. The only museum that comes to mind is the Muse Kroon, but there are two problems. First, it's been a long time, and I don't know if I can find it. Second, Andre. I guess I don't have a choice. Great, I'm lost. He passes time by closely watching the passers-by. Is it just me, or are his hands and feet bound? Someone must have used it to break out somewhere. It's bent like a lockpick. Or maybe someone just lost it. The same thing happened to me when I was 12. I lost mine betting on my favorite basketball team. Wow, a piece of a broken dental brace. Hi, could you help me?
That depends on your question. What's your name?
My name is George Stobart. Stobart, 2 B's and 2 T's. What's your name?
Nice to meet you, George. My name is Dr. Blackter. How can I help you?
I don't mean to be rude, but why are you bound hand and foot?
I can hardly answer that question, George.
Why is that? You must have done something, or you wouldn't be in chains, would you?
Well, in my eyes, what I did wasn't wrong at all, George. Only in the eyes of the people that saw me do it. To me, what's important is not what I've done or not done, but why you're asking me about it. In today's society, it seems almost commonplace to put people in chains who haven't done anything wrong. Consequently, I assume it's nothing unusual to be in chains anymore. Which leads me to the question, why are you still walking free? Isn't that an irrefutable sign that we're living in an Orwellian society, George?
Wow, I've never seen it from that perspective. Putting that guy in chains makes sense to me now. Well, would you tell me what entirely innocent and legal act you committed before this degraded society felt the need to take you into custody?
I had dinner with a patient.
Wow, that does seem a bit of a harsh sentence. Maybe I had the wrong impression of you. Is that really all there is to it?
Well, he was the main course.
Mother of God. Now that is illegal, Doctor. And not exactly great medical ethics.
You didn't know him, George? So you can't judge, can you? He was a very unpleasant human being whose way of treating others put him totally out of place in this world.
But as a doctor, shouldn't you have been helping to remedy that?
I cure only what I'm able to cure, George. In that case, it wasn't the patient I had to cure, but the world that needed to be cured of him, and is that bit cleaner as a result.
Well, I definitely wasn't wrong about him. Doctor, I think you have a serious problem.
If you say so, George. You see, I have stopped arguing with people. Nobody ever really listens to my arguments.
I can see why. I guess I've heard enough of that. Let's change the subject.
You don't know what to say, right, George? You know, there are people that want to seriously discuss things, and others only want to do small talk. I'm not one for such primitive conversation. It's beneath me.
Which kind would I be then?
My knowledge of human nature tells me that you wouldn't like my answer. You'd be offended.
All right, I can live with your judgment.
You see, George, even though I haven't told you, you already know the answer. You're offended, and you don't want to discuss it any further. I was right in all respects.
He was right. I think this lunatic is too smart for me. I'm looking for the museum Kroon. I should know where to find it, but I got lost somehow.
I can't tell you the way, but I'd like to know something from you. Or rather about you in exchange.
Listen, I'm not really feeling like Q&A games right now.
Quid pro quo, George. You tell me something, I tell you something.
If it's absolutely necessary.
Do you have a girlfriend, George?
Hey, that's kinda personal.
Do you want to know the way or not, George? I'm sure that none of the people you'll meet here will be as cooperative as me.
Okay, I have a girlfriend.
Well done. First, walk down this street until you reach a corner shop. What's your girlfriend's name, George?
Why should I tell you that?
Quid pro quo, George.
You've got some nerve. Her name is Nico.
Well done, George. Well done. After that corner shop, you turn left to face Notre Dame, then walk straight on. Do you have dreams, George?
But...
Quid pro.
Okay. I dream about my girlfriend being abducted and I can't do anything about it. That's terrible sometimes. I can't believe what I've just told this madman.
Take the first turn right and you'll find the museum. Do you hear your girlfriend scream in your dreams, George? Do you hear her scream? Take good care of your girlfriend, George.
He passes time by closely watching the passers-by. Wow, a piece of a broken dental brace. Museum Kroon, closed for refurbishing. Damn it, wait, maybe there's another museum.
I can't remember what the French call the Baphomet idol. Was it Marseille?
I don't think so. I think it was something with an S.
If only someone could help us.
Wow, what am I supposed to say? Pardon me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? It says that Maupassant is collecting donations for the Third World next Saturday. The priest invites the congregation to come and listen to the choir sing. That's it! Why didn't I remember the priest sooner? He knew about the Templars when I first came to Paris. Maybe he can help. It's strange, but in 7 years, I have never seen this fountain sprinkling water. I wonder why it's not working this time. This would make sense if there was water in there and it was 40 degrees or more. Wow, what am I supposed to say? Pardon me.
Yes, what can I do for you?
Do you remember me?
Oh, you're the man whose chalice I cleaned.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, it's alright. I enjoyed doing it.
Really? That's a relief. Have you seen Nicole Collard lately? She's my girlfriend. Black hair, smartly dressed. I'm looking for her.
Every day scores of people enter these walls. I find it hard to remember all their names and faces. But I am sure you will find her. God will be with you.
Can you tell me what the idol of Baphomet used to be called?
Baphomet?
No, I mean in French.
Oh well, let me think. I can't remember, but I remember seeing the name somewhere here in this church.
Okay, I'll take a look around. Thanks anyway.
You are very welcome.
This church is just as splendid as I remember.
Yes, it is, and that is thanks to the people of the parish, who have given large donations not only to support the poor souls in the third world, but also for the restoration of this church. Are you coming to this service next Saturday?
I can't promise anything, but I'll try to be there.
I'd be so grateful.
As I take a closer look, I see it. The writing Baphomet below the illustration of Jesus can easily be made out. But there's something written underneath it, much smaller. No, it's pointless. I can't read it. A magnifying glass. It probably belongs to one of the tourists. A magnifying glass. It probably belongs to one of the tourists. I still remember how I sat here and talked to Andre 6 years ago. Man, it was horrible.
What can I do for you, monsieur?
Do you have ice cream?
No, I'm sorry, but we do not have any ice cream. But we do have quite cheap ice lollies.
Okay. I'd like a piece of cake.
Oh, excusez-moi. Our patisserie couldn't deliver any cakes this week.
I'll have a coffee. Black coffee, please.
Anything else? Here we are, sir. A black coffee.
I'd like to pay, please.
That is 16 euros 80.
What? That's a ripoff. Okay. I don't have a choice, do I? A magnifying glass. It probably belongs to one of the tourists. I wonder if they'll miss it. I guess not. The magnifying glass the tourists have lost. Hey, despite the drop, it's almost undamaged. That doesn't work. I can see the small writing through the magnifying glass. It reads Sue. That's it. I never cared much for biblical paintings or stained glass windows, but these are kind of impressive. Hello? So,
That's it.
Yes, that's it.
Thank you very much.
no, not at all. Maybe you can help me in exchange.
Okay, what's the problem?
Have you heard about the explosion a few years back?
What?
The explosion! Broken glass all around, me in the middle.
I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about.
Boom, and everything was broken. Luckily, I was able to save myself by diving out of the way like a cat.
Well, that's really exciting.
Yeah, it was, kind of. Can you tell me where I can find a museum that houses objects from the age of the Templars?
Let me think. How about the Museum Natres near the Montfaucon?
Thanks, you've been a great help. There are two cashiers staring at a TV set. I don't have any money left. I'll have to sneak in. There are two cashiers staring at a TV set. Can you tell me something about...
Be quiet out there.
Come back later.
But I can't go in without a ticket.
That's not our problem. We're watching the match. Hey you haven't paid.
No one gets in for free. Come here and pay.
Hey you haven't paid.
No one gets in for free. Come here and pay.
Wow, that guy's muscular. Luckily Nico isn't around, so I won't have to worry. You won't just let me in there, will you?
I can't. There's restoration work going on in there. The exhibits will be available in about 2 months.
I hear that Museum Kroon is completely closed for restoration.
That's true. The city is investing a lot of money in the restoration of the local museums. You're lucky the museum hasn't been closed as well.
Have you ever heard of the Templars?
You mean the Knights Templar? Yes, there are some artifacts just behind this door.
Do you know what it is?
No, monsieur. I'm not really interested in those things. My fields are football and... well, my wife.
Have you seen a good-looking black-haired woman?
Evans, no, I'm happily married. Well, most of the time.
She's my girlfriend. I'm looking for her.
Sorry, I haven't seen her.
I can't wait for 2 months. Can't you make a little exception? I need some information I can probably get in this room.
I'm sorry, sir, but I can't let you go in there.
Nice weather. Perfect for playing football. Outside.
I can't take it any longer, sir. Could you stop talking about football, please?
Aren't you interested in the match? Your colleagues in the ticket booth are watching the match between France and Germany. Don't you want to see that match?
You're right, of course. I'd love to see the match, but I'm not allowed to leave my post here. That's why I'd be much obliged. If you could stop talking about it, it makes me sad.
Your colleagues are watching the game in the ticket booth, and you're here. Don't you think it's a little unfair that you have to work?
Well, what can I say? I tried to take the day off, but my colleagues were faster than me.
I've tried it the nice and friendly way. Now it's time for a dastardly piece of cunning. Oh my god, a penalty for the French team! What a brutal foul on Zidane!
I must see that game. Could you take over my post for a minute while I go and watch the penalty?
Sure, pleasure.
Thank you so much, sir. Don't let anyone in. I'll be back in a minute.
Behind a thick glass pane, I can see an old piece of parchment. But what does it say? Behind a thick glass pane, I can see an old piece of parchment. But what does it say? To my disappointment, I realize that it's not the latest issue of FHM. It's some kind of science magazine. Main subject, bone findings in Israel. Sounds interesting. It's not an FHM, but you must always educate yourself with new things. It's some kind of science magazine. Main subject, bone findings in Israel. Sounds interesting. This says that the parchment is one of the last documents written by Jacques de Molay. Shortly before he was burnt at the stake, he is said to have told one of his servant boys, Geoffrey de Charnay, the secret of a lost seal that was said to be more powerful than 1,000 gods. Wow, 1,000 gods, huh? Not just one, but 1,000. It says, Molay instructed Charnay to look for the seal, but before he could find it, he met the same fate as his master. Charnay was burnt alive by the French Inquisition. Although managed to hide the parchment from his enemies, the seal has remained lost to this day. The only trace that the parchment gives leads to is Portugal Tomar, a provincial small town northeast of Lisbon, the Templars' last European stronghold in the 14th century. When Tomar fell and the order was destroyed, the seal disappeared in the confusion of the war. But it is assumed that the seal is still hidden somewhere in the area. The sandy and rocky hills of Tomar are an attractive destination for archaeologists, tourists, and adventurous treasure seekers. That must be it. Tomar!
Pardon?
Nothing. It's alright. Stobart, you are fantastic. First, you got rid of the Watchmen, and now you even know your next destination, Portugal. This says that the parchment is one of the last documents written by Jacques de Molay.
The game is just in an exciting phase. Leave us alone.
Looks like a broken broom. Only the stick is left. Why not? Might be useful at some point. Looks like a broken broom. Only the stick is left. I don't need any souvenirs. Maybe later. That's the old man's bag. I wonder what might be inside. Although I'm filled with guilt, I snatch an item from the bag. It's a thread. That's the old man's bag. Wow, what am I supposed to say? A cheap-looking wristwatch. Seen from close range, the watch doesn't look as cheap anymore. There's an engraving. Ilak al-Kalb. That rings a bell somewhere. A cheap-looking wristwatch. that's the well. It goes down about 4 meters. A childhood without chocolate. That's unimaginable.
Don't even think that I haven't seen you. Put that back.
Unbelievable. The seller has cut 2 holes into his newspaper so he can watch the stand while reading. Hello.
Yes?
You wouldn't give me that box of chocolates for free if I asked nicely, would you?
Who do you think you are? Leave me alone if you're not buying anything.
Can I pay for those chocolates by credit card?
Do you have a MasterCard?
No, American Express.
Can't you read the sign? It says only MasterCard in capital letters. And now you are driving away my customers with your loitering.
Mister, you could be a bit more polite. Are you by any chance interested in the well over there and the workings?
Not really. What's so interesting about a well?
Now come on, it might hide the greatest treasure of the Knights Templar.
Knights... what?
Templar. Knights Templar. Didn't you pay attention in history class?
I never went to school.
How long have you had this shop?
Since that crazy professor over there started believing he can find some treasure down the well.
But that's possible, isn't it?
He won't find anything. 2 weeks ago, I told him I had lost my wristwatch and asked him to keep an eye open.
Did you get it back?
Yes and no. I found it near the well, but now it's gone again.
My God, you're not real good at taking care of your things, are you?
That's not easy if you have to watch the shop all the time because some brat wants to mess about with your goods. I even cut holes in my newspapers so I can see what's going on while those thieves think I'm reading.
Have you caught anyone yet?
Certainly. That brat over there tried to steal a box of chocolates. I caught him and spanked his ass like in the good old times.
Maybe I can find your watch.
If you want to look for it, fine. I've stopped looking for it a few days ago. I'll only lose it again.
I found your wristwatch.
Thanks!
How about a tiny finder's reward?
You expect me to give you a reward?
Now listen. I find your watch, sacrificing valuable moments of my short life in the process, and you won't give me a reward?
Okay. Here, you have a keyring. Please excuse my rudeness. Don't even think that I haven't seen you. Put that back.
Hello.
But I have already given you your reward.
Aren't you feeling like reading anymore?
I don't have anything left to read. I already know this paper by heart. But what business is it of yours?
Just curious. I'll be off then.
Goodbye.
How about reading a magazine?
But that is French.
Damn, that totally escaped me.
Well then, I'm lucky that my mama is from Bordeaux, huh?
Pardon?
Just give me that and go away.
The shopkeeper forgot to cut holes into the magazine, but I fear he might see my shadow when I lean over the stall to steal the chocolates. No, he'd be bound to see my shadow. Great! I have the chocolate. A childhood without chocolate? That's unimaginable.